Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Well, in this video, I'm going to give you an introduction to scatter plot, which is part of studying the relationship between two variables. Alright, so when we have two variables, one is the independent, usually denoted as x, and the other one is the dependent variable, denoted as y. And examples of possible relationship are given as such. For example, does a volume of sales in a month related to the amount of advertising? Or maybe does a number of hours spent studying on a particular subject affects the result? So number of hours and result. Is caffeine, the amount of caffeine, related to the heart damage? Is the lifespan of a particular animal depends on the birth weight? So these are example of possible relationship that you might be interested to investigate. Yeah. Now, in some cases, it is clear which one is independent or dependent. For example, normally in the case of the number of hours spent studying, this would be the, for example, the independent variable, and the result that you will get later on will be the dependent variable. So in some cases, it is clear which one is independent or dependent, and in other cases, it depends on the researcher to decide. Okay. Right, so here are the methods to study the relationship of two variables, and we are going to cover two of them. The first one is correlation. So basically in correlation, you are just interested in seeing whether the linear relationship exists and how strong the relationship is. Whereas for regression, what you want to do is you want to describe the nature of relationship and to make some predictions, and this one here can be achieved by constructing a mathematical equation. So when you talk about describing the relationship, you're talking about coming up or building a mathematical equation for that scenario here. Okay, so in this video I'm going to focus on scatter plot, and this is the first step. This is the first step that you consider when you want to analyze the data, and what it does is it gives a visual representation. It gives you a rough idea on the relationship of two variables. So this chapter is all about identifying whether a linear relationship exists or not between x and y. So therefore, when you have a scatter plot, that plot should be scrutinized for a linear pattern. So a linear pattern is just a straight line, okay, either in this direction or in this direction. So it can be positive linear. So positive linear, if it goes from the bottom, it goes upward in this direction, so that is positive linear. Or it can be negative linear if it goes in this direction, so that's negative linear. For example, this is a positive linear, this is a positive linear. It could be this could be a negative linear, this could be a negative linear, but this looks like it has some sort of a curve. So sometimes when it has a slightly non-linear or curvilinear, it could also indicate a linear relationship. So to be certain about it, we need to investigate further and not just rely on the construction of the scatter plot. So this is what it means here. If you want to be certain that the relationship is linear, you have to do further analysis such as correlation and regression. Yeah. So here is a simple question on giving an example of two variables having a positive linear relationship. So when we talk about positive linear relationship, we're talking about the movement of data in this direction. So here's a positive linear relationship, height and weight. So if you plot the data in general, the relationship is positive linear because the taller the person is, the heavier he becomes. So generally the example of two variables having a positive linear relationship can be attributed to this example here. Now another example of two variables having a negative relationship, which means it's going in this direction. As an example here, we have these two variables. The first one is the age of kids below 12, and the number of spelling mistakes made. So in general, when the age increases, the number of spelling mistakes will decrease. So if you plot the data, it will be in general looking like this. Okay, so when age increases, so you can imagine this will correspond to age. So let me just, so this one is age, and if age increases, so this one is the number of spelling mistakes for this axis here, number of spelling mistakes. So the number of spelling mistake will decrease when age increase. So that is an example of two variables having a negative relationship here. Alright, these are the question on a scatter plot. So construct a scatter plot based on the following data. This is the age and this is the blood pressure. And if you plot this data, this is the image that you will get. Oops, sorry. This is the image that you will get. In general, it looks as if it has a positive linear relationship. So based on that, we can comment on the pattern. For example, we can say that there is a possibility that the relationship between age and blood pressure is positive linear, and which means that as age increases, the blood pressure increases as well. So that is some of the comments that you can say on the pattern seen in the graph here. Alright, I think that's all for now, and then I will continue the idea about correlation in the next video. Thank you very much for watching.